Morning, everybody. We're going to take a quick look at what we were looking at this morning, our pre-market analysis, kind of our general directional bias for the day, and then how everything ended up playing out. So, first thing we did when we sat down this morning was we took a look at what we call our top to bottom breakdown. So, we jumped on the daily, took a look at what levels we had. We obviously have a lot of liquidity beneath us if price does start to break down, but we didn't have anything concrete yet. 4 hour was pretty much showing the same thing, nothing concrete. Um, we did have an opening gap last night when the market reopened. We're going to take a look at that when we get a little bit lower in these time frames. 2 hour, basically the same thing. The gap down from last night. Today is Monday, so last night when the market reopened, we had a roughly 70 point drop. So we know that when that happens, there's a really good chance that price is going to try to rebalance and fill that gap. Um, when we take a look here at the 2 hour, we notice that we did take out a little bit of liquidity here. And then we're going to look at this low when we get a little bit lower, but we've actually failed to take the opening candle low. But we do have liquidity points beneath us. Top side, we're sitting at all-time highs, so if we get a push to the upside, we have to consider the possibility that price is going to try to go all the way back up into all-time highs. Let me actually pull this back to um, let me pull this back to before market open, because we usually get on around 8 o'clock Eastern, maybe 8:30 Eastern, it just depends. And that's kind of where we start to get our directional bias for the day. So like we talked about, we have this opening gap from last night when the market reopened. Hold on, let me make sure I draw it perfectly. We have this opening gap, so I usually like to mark the gap just so I can have a visual representation of where it is. And then we're going to jump down to, so here on the hourly, we can see that when we opened up last night, we broke all the way down and cleared the next major level of liquidity. We cleared these lows, this low, both of these lows, and we actually swept beneath this low right here. Okay, so if we did not get a bullish inversion off of this low, then I would be looking for price to continue down for our 22,779 level. But what happened in here is price came back up, came down one more time. Let me drop down to the 15-minute. We can really see it a lot clearer. Price came down, um, all the way down, swept. Hold on, I got this in the wrong spot. There we go. Price came down. Man, hold on. I am okay. Now I got it. Price came down, swept the low, came up, failed to actually break the low again the second time it returned. So this blue line is our Asia session low, and then the red line is our London session low. And when price actually failed to take that low, we had a massive inversion. You see these two huge engulfing green candles. What that represents is a huge surplus of buyers that are taking over the market at this point. When that happens, we invert not only one, but two fair value gaps. We actually invert all three if you count the one that was created when we made this retracement after the lows were taken. So in two candles, essentially 10 minutes of price action, we undid, what is this? 9.5 hours of price action. This is actually 15-minute candles. So in 30 minutes, we inverted all of this price action, okay? So when that happened, you can see we have a long signal that was printed because this meets the inversion criteria that we look for. So the 15-minute is a huge, huge, huge indicator for me. When we get a really clean move like this, it really makes it very, very concrete in my mind that, like in a situation like this, price is going to continue higher. So what do we start to look for? We start to look for possible targets that price could run to, areas of liquidity. So when price came down to here and bounced, this is a liquidity level. When price came from this high, bounced, came up, created a lower high, this is a liquidity level. And then we obviously have liquidity resting up here. And then our levels that are also pretty obvious are going to be like prior high that was not taken. This is a Asia high from Thursday session from last week, and then up to This is actually, yeah, this is Thursday evening. So the Thursday evening, Friday overnight session. This is the Asia high, and then we have Thursday session high up here. So those are going to be our liquidity levels to the upside. So what could potentially yield us a move up there if that's where we think we're going? So we already talked about the strong possibility that price is going to try to fill the gap. Okay, so that's one bullish confluence. I have reason to suspect price is going to go higher. Our next bullish confluence is going to be the fact that we had this massive inversion after sweeping liquidity. That's a second confluence. People who like to look at ES and NQ and see about divergences, they would have noticed that when NQ came down and failed to take this Asia low, ES actually swept the Asia low, created a London low down here, and then made the exact same bullish inversion on ES. So that's another bullish confluence, okay? So our pre-market directional sentiment, or whatever you want to call it, for this morning was I was looking for price to come down, and let me pull up my trace tool. If I can find it. I was looking for price to potentially come down, test this 22,845 level, ultimately come up, hit here, probably have some resistance, and then ultimately make a run for 22,997. This was our directional bias for the day. Um, Before market open, we actually took a long trade. I'm sorry, we took a short off of the liquidity sweep that happened here on Asia highs. So we took a short somewhere in this area and ended up having to hold it into this push. Now, because of the position size I was in, I ended up having to close the trade for a loss. We took about a 70-point loss on this when this pushed up against us at market open. But our directional sentiment was still going to be looking for longs in this area. Stop loss was realistically going to be about 50 points, so it would put us right at the Asia London lows. And ultimate TP for me personally was going to be clearing that 22,997 and potentially seeing price go higher than that. Okay, so as we know, once market opened, we ended up getting a massive rejection off of that first level of liquidity, which was 22,945. So if we drop down to the 5 minute time frame, um, I actually think we entered short off of the 1 minute time frame. Yeah, so on the 1 minute time frame, when price broke above that 22,945 level and started to reject, we took shorts when price broke back down. We had a slight retest, and then price completely dumped all the way down, and we got a perfect um, sniper entry, and I mean perfect sniper entry, right here at that 22,845 level that we discussed. And I'm going to show you guys my trade log from this morning so you can see that what I'm telling you is accurate and I'm not just giving you a line of shit. Um, but we ended up perfectly bottom ticking this and catching a nice 65 point long. So for today, we ended up about 65 points in the green. We took an initial short, which was premature, and it was 100% on me. I should not have taken it because it didn't align with my bias. We took a short, price pushed up, closed us out for about 70 points. We re-entered short when we got the confirmation of the liquidity sweep off of our first level of liquidity. Price reversed all the way back down. We got a absolutely perfect sniper entry when price did come down and meet our entry level. And then we, like I said, we basically top ticked this, um, and price ended up running perfectly to TP1, which was our 22,997 level. It actually reached PT1, PT2, and if I'm not mistaken, I think price even cleared uh, all the way up. Yeah, it even cleared the Asia low that we had marked out to our left. So as these levels get taken, we definitely do want to make sure we delete them off the charts because for me at least, they become invalid once price reaches them. But the trade idea that we had for this morning, our ultimate bias and directional sentiment that we had worked out beautifully. This was basically a 3-to-1 RR for a 300% return, 50 point stop loss, 152 point take profit, traded actually played out beautifully. The only reason we struggled this morning was my inability to be patient, honestly. So let me show you guys my the trade log for this morning so you can see what we had. So yeah, okay, so here we go. So this is this morning. All of the trades that I take here are going to be on technically on a paper trading account for TradingView. I don't actually trade on full size NQ. I trade MNQ on my personal accounts. But all of the trades I take in real time here from my stream, and so I can represent where we are in the trade. So the first trade we took, we entered short at 22,965, like we talked about, right somewhere right here. Oh, we closed short. Yeah, we got in at 896. We ended up taking almost a 70-point loss on that. We immediately made it back when we re-entered short off of the liquidity sweep. We made pretty much everything that we lost back, and then we came back for another almost 70 points there. So we did end the day up about 65 and a half points on the day. Um, really couldn't ask for much more than that. Obviously, it would have been nice to not take that loss right at open, but it is what it is. Uh, Hopefully, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Peace.